the city centre, and we're entering the former harbour. Amsterdam has one of the largest harbours in Europe. Because the ships kept on getting larger and larger, it became necessary to construct completely new harbours where the very largest ships could load and unload their cargo. These harbours are on the North Sea Canal between Amsterdam and IJmuiden. South of the Eye, the northern part, mostly suburban districts, has a population of about 56,000. The ferries that used to be the link between the two parts, and still are for pedestrians and cyclists, have long proved to be inadequate. This is why the city decided to build the underwater Eye Tunnel, which was opened in 1968. Including the entrance and exit, the tunnel is 2 kilometers long and is completely supported by cement piles. Towers of the Eye Tunnel that connects the centre of Amsterdam with the northern districts at a depth of 25 meters under the water. Hustle and bustle there must have been here in the 17th century with the loading and unloading of the ships of the West and East India companies that were moored side by side here. Is a replica of an 18th century trading ship that sunk on its maiden trip near the British coast. It's been voluntarily reconstructed by unemployed people, and it took 5 years to build. To the left, the large building used to be the National Naval Supply Station. It's now the Maritime Museum. It was built in 1656, in 9 months. With Neptune, god of the sea, Mercury, god of trade, the coat of arms of Amsterdam, with the 3 St. Andrew's crosses, and the coat of arms of the VOC. The VOC was the trading company that had a monopoly on trade with the Asian countries, the East Indies, throughout the 17th and 18th century, and was therefore the richest company in the world. The VOC was the first multinational and contributed to the golden age of Holland. The building on the left in the form of a ship is the new metropolis, which was designed by the famous Italian architect Renzo Piano. This is the same architect who designed the Pompidou Center in Paris. The new metropolis is built over the entrance to the Eye Tunnel. On the left is the Scheepvaarthuis, the shipping house, which is also called the House with 1,000 Windows. It was built by the School of Amsterdam in a style that resembles Art Nouveau. It has the shape of a ship. Amsterdam used to have a serious housing shortage. This is why so many people decided to live on houseboats. We see a few of them here. Most of the houseboats are legal. In other words, they have permission from the city to be where they are. They have gas, water and electricity, which the illegal houseboats do not. To the right, we see the Montalbaan Tower, an old defence tower. The bottom part dates back to the 15th century, but the top wasn't added until the 17th century. The tower used to be called Gekke Jacob, Crazy Jack, because the clock couldn't keep time. To the left, the Waterlooplein, or Waterloo Square. The building is the Amsterdam City Hall and Music Theatre. This used to be the centre of the Jewish neighbourhood. We're in the Amstel now. Amsterdam was named after the former river, the Amstel. If we look at the calm flow of the water today, it's hard to believe that it was once a real river with a rapid current. The Magere Brug, or Skinny Bridge, which we see ahead of us now, is one of the city's oldest bridges. It was built in the beginning of the 17th century and got its name from an even skinnier one that used to be at this spot before it. We're now approaching one of our boat trip's most beautiful spots. On the left, we're about to see the 7 arched bridges of Reguliersgracht, or Regular Canal. To the left, at number 502, the house with the balcony and the marble pillars is the official residence of the Mayor of Amsterdam. Used to live. Nowadays, these mansions are used as banks, offices, consulates, and so on. These houses used to be occupied by just one family. The door under the steps was used only by the staff. Be sure to look up at the gables of the houses to the left and to the right. There are a lot of different types of gables, but the most common ones are the stepped gable, the bell gable, the neck gable, the frame gable, and the funnel gable. You see that each house has a furniture hook at the top of the gable. Since the doors and staircases of the houses in Amsterdam are very narrow, when we move house, everything goes in and out through the window. The stairs of these houses were so narrow because houses on the canal were taxed on their width. Consequently, people tried to build houses as narrow and as deep as possible. Many houses have extensions at the back because it was cheaper. In the 17th century, some houses were built in a special way with the top of the gable leaning slightly forwards. In this way, it was easier to hoist up goods, and it also helped keep the rain out. The low fences that you see lining the canals all over Amsterdam have been put there to prevent cars from driving into the water. They were put up in 1962 to 1963 and cost the city 100 guilders a metre, which was quite a lot of money at the time. And they still can't prevent an average of 1 car a week from driving into the water. It may be interesting for you to know that we have more than 1,000 bridges here in Amsterdam and about 100 canals with a total length of almost 100 kilometers. The canals are 3 meters deep. The first canals were dug in the 13th century for the transport of goods. Nowadays, this is the red light district. Every time the city grew, new canals were dug in the shape of a semicircle. Most of the houses have been built on wooden piles because the ground is so soft. At high tide in the North Sea, Amsterdam is approximately 1.5 meters below sea level. Our national airport, Schiphol, is no less than 5 meters below sea level. It's Amsterdam, not The Hague, as some people might think, which is the country's capital. The city's population is about 750,000. We're about to pass through the Haarlemmersluis, one of Amsterdam's 16 former sea locks. Ahead of you is the St. Nicholas Church, built in 1887 in neo-Baroque style. St. Nicholas is the patron saint of sailors.